by the man shortly after this, and although it would be hours before she was found critical but survived, which is how we got a police composite. To this day, this still remains as the only visual of the person who was hiding in that basement. And if you guys are loving Creep Time, make sure to go follow on Insta.
Facts that will blow your mind. Humans are the only animals that enjoy spicy foods. Potato chips cause more weight gain than any other food. It's impossible to hum while you hold your nose. The least interesting day in history was April 11, 1954. Aldous Huxley and C.S. Lewis died on the same day as JFK. Bigger forks lead you to eat less. The longest living insect is the termite. Chewing gum after a meal reduces heartburn. Dogs can smell cancer. Bees can detect bombs. Follow and comment below which fact blew your mind.
Imagine waking up to be told you stabbed your boyfriend to death and you have absolutely no idea. Bryn Specker was a 27-year-old woman from California. It was 2 a.m. on Memorial Day 2018. She'd been dating 28-year-old Chad O'Meara for a couple of weeks. The pair had been hanging out a lot since initially meeting at a dog park. Chad was 26 and worked as an accountant and an amateur boxer. On the night in question, the couple were at his apartment in Thousand Oaks. They decided to smoke some substances together and had no idea that the decision would change their lives forever. Bryn is said to have gone into what is called substance-induced psychosis. She ended up doing just about the most horrific thing you could imagine. She grabbed a knife and stabbed Chad in a frenzied attack. She ended up stabbing him over 100 times. She was reportedly screaming hysterically while stabbing him and herself in the neck. She then, and trigger warning here for animals, she then stabbed her pet dog, an Alaskan Husky. Emergency services raced to the scene and there was blood absolutely everywhere. Bryn was still screaming and officers had to hit her with a baton and also taser her in order to get the knife out of her hand and subdue her. Her boyfriend Chad was pronounced dead at the scene. Bryn was rushed to hospital where she underwent life-saving surgery. When she regained consciousness, she had no idea what had happened. She was told she had killed her own boyfriend and also stabbed her dog. Thankfully, her dog did survive the attack. In court, Bryn claimed that Chad had actually been aggressive and intimidating towards her during the time that they'd known each other. She stated that he had pressured her into smoking the substances that night. In a controversial conclusion to the case, she was convicted of involuntary manslaughter. She was given 2 years probation and 100 hours community service.
Creepy murder cases you haven't heard of. John George Hay was a married man in the UK who was also a gruesome murderer. He thought he could avoid getting caught if there were no bodies, so he dissolved his victims in baths of acid. However, there was still sufficient evidence to prove he killed 6 people. He then claimed to have killed 9. He was put to death by hanging.
I hope this makes everyone happy.
Yeah, it smells like Bob.
Ugh. It's gross.
Let's talk about Disney's River Country, the abandoned water park that's just been sitting there and rotting since 2001. Also, apparently it's infested with alligators. Love that. So not only can you get a brain-eating amoeba, which, by the way, they had brain-eating amoebas while the park was active, but then you can get got by an alligator. Great. But yeah, not so fun fact, there was a little boy who unfortunately lost his life with a brain-eating amoeba after visiting River Country. That was in 1980, and they didn't shut down the park. They didn't do anything until 2001. 21 years did they allow people to continue swimming in that dirty water before they actually did something about it, knowing that brain-eating amoeba was in there. Of course, this is all alleged, but the little boy did die from that. Disney, please don't sue me. I don't have any money. Here's what the view of it from Google Earth looks like now. Look how overgrown it is with foliage. That's what it looked like when it was active. And this is, I have a huge phobia of abandoned amusement parks, but especially abandoned water parks. There's something just so vile
about you, and it's no one else like you is what they're getting. Positive vibes only.
Showing parts of the park.
Shout out to King Sauce Boss in the build about you.
About this.
There are some crazy things happening in the world right now. An asteroid earlier this month passed over Antarctica just 100 miles above it. Nobody on Earth realized that this happened until after it happened. That's terrifying. A Catholic university in Australia was caught using AI to wrongly accuse students of cheating with AI. This resulted in some students not receiving graduate positions because it took over 6 months to clear their accusations. A flight in Europe was diverted after 2 passengers were arrested. One of them was eating pages of their own passport, and the other flushed his down a toilet. Americans are using PTO to sleep, not for vacation, a new report just came out. SpaceX built an escape system that could save astronauts in seconds. It's basically a giant slide that accelerates the astronaut up to 400 miles per hour to get into safety. That's actually kind of cool, honestly. The Breaking Bad star Raymond Cruz was arrested after spraying his neighbor's child with a garden hose while washing his car.
So, ladies, if you want to roll my Mercedes, turn around, stick it out. Even white boys got to shout.
This TikToker had intercourse with her dog. Her name is Denise Fraser, and she went by the name of Denise Fraser 619 on TikTok. She had over 10,000 followers across all social platforms, and she made content where she would lip sync and play with her dogs. And one day, she made a disturbing post on Snapchat. She posted a story where she was having intercourse with one of her dogs while she was pregnant. Guys, I haven't seen the video myself, but the people that did watch it said that her pregnant belly was clearly visible, and that the video was very disturbing to watch. Anyways, guys, after she posted the story, this video immediately went viral. And guys, when this went viral, Denise denied all the allegations and claimed that she was innocent. But as you guys know, the internet does not forgive things like this. So people dug into her accounts and found out that it was her in the video and that she was arrested just a year prior for essaying another dog. This time, her victim was a German Shepherd. Guys, not only did she essay her dog, but she filmed this video in the church parking lot. And guys, it wasn't just one video that she took. She literally took several videos and pictures and posted it on Snapchat for her audience to see. Many of her audience were little kids, by the way. And when this incident happened, she was arrested and charged with animal cruelty, but she was eventually let go and she was ordered to stay away from animals, which she obviously didn't do. And when she was let out the first time, she made this post mocking the whole situation. This is what the post said, guys. If I'm such a bad person, then why didn't my dog file a police report then? He must have liked it. Guys, this girl is clearly sick in the head and doesn't take things seriously. Now let's go back to the second time she was arrested. The sheriff who took her case said that this was one of the most disturbing cases that he had ever worked with in his 17 years of law enforcement. He also said that Denise had dozens of videos of her having intercourse with multiple dogs and that the investigators who watched the videos were severely traumatized. He also mentioned that he asked Denise why she did all those things with her dogs, and she said that she did it because they were her service dogs. Anyways, guys, Denise was booked with charges of animal cruelty and unnatural intercourse. And as for her dogs, they were taken to a nearby animal hospital where they are getting medical help. Denise was later released on a $25,000 bond. Denise is now a free woman and has since adopted a couple of new dogs. By the way, guys, this happened in Mississippi, so shout out to Mississippi. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and like and follow to stay updated on this case.
People who died in a scariest way. Edward Mordrake. Edward Mordrake, an English nobleman, was born with the second face on the back of his head. It didn't speak, but it would smile, cry, and whisper to him at night. Driven mad by the torment, Edward took his own life at just 23. He begged for the second face to be destroyed after death. Elisa Lam. Elisa Lam, a 21-year-old student, was staying at the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles when she mysteriously vanished. Weeks later, her body was discovered in a water tank on the hotel's roof. Guests had been unknowingly drinking and bathing in the same water. Her elevator footage went viral, and no one knows how she got there. Gloria Ramirez. In Riverside, California, 31-year-old Gloria Ramirez was rushed to the ER due to cancer-related issues. But when nurses and doctors approached her, they collapsed one by one. Her body emitted toxic fumes, causing mass panic. To this day, no one knows exactly why her body turned deadly.
This is like something out of The Purge or a horror movie. This family in Alexandria, Virginia had these three guys at their door trying to get into their house and screaming to let them in. Let me play the video for you guys because this is just creepy. Check it out.
Act like you're serious. Act like you're serious. Open the door! Open up the door! Friday, we will make our way in somewhere in this house. From the back or the front, it don't matter who it takes. Open the door! Open the door! Open the door!
I'm convinced that, these were either just teenagers or something like that playing a prank, or they were actually trying to get in. Maybe a mix of both. Regardless, though, that doesn't give you the, permission to just threaten somebody and try to break into their house late at night like that. I can hear them laughing in the background at the end of the video. I'm sure they thought that was hilarious. Regardless, if this happened to any of us at night, I think we'd all be, a little scared. Three random people at the door, screaming, banging on the door.
This TikToker's head was found in the shower. This is 21-year-old Angie Diaz, and she was a TikToker with over 50,000 followers. Guys, she posted videos showcasing her personality just like this one. And guys, besides TikTok, she also worked 2 jobs to help pay for her mother's cancer treatment in Central America. And in October 2022, she married a man named Jared Dykes. This is one of the photos they took on their wedding day, and on the surface, they both seem happy. But guys, just a couple weeks after they got married, Angie's co-workers started noticing that Angie was acting strange. She seemed more distant and looked very unhappy. And just 3 months after her marriage, on January 11, 2023, the police were called to Angie's house. And once the police arrived, they discovered the dismembered body of Angie. To be more specific, they found her headless body in the master bedroom, and they found her head in the shower. It turns out that her husband had anger issues, and he started assaulting her once they got married. And on January 11, 2023, he snapped and decided to unalive Angie for no reason at all. And after unaliving Angie, he went to the convenience store that Angie worked at and stole a beer. Jared Dykes was later arrested, and he was charged with murder. Guys, he was put on a $500,000 bond. That means that if he pays a bond, he can be walking among us. Let me know your thoughts about this situation in the comments below, and like and follow to stay updated on the case.
Morbid Facts, Part 350. In 2021, a Pennsylvania special ed teacher sexually assaulted a 14-year-old student. She then got out on bail and continued meeting with the boy until one day she saw police approaching and shot herself right in front of him. In 2010, 80-year-old Maria de Jesus Arroyo was pronounced dead after suffering a heart attack and brought to an LA morgue. A few days later, morticians returned to pull her body from the freezer and found her corpse suddenly covered in bruises as if she was beaten up. It was later determined that she was still alive and tried to get out, breaking her nose in the process, but she eventually froze to death. In 2005, the Liverpool soccer team reached the European Champions League final against AC Milan, but they were down 3-0 at halftime and defeat looked inevitable. That's when depressed Liverpool fan Mark Houghton had seen enough and decided to take his own life. But in the second half, Liverpool managed to score 3 times to tie it up, and ended up winning on penalties in one of the greatest comebacks in team history.
this Israeli pedophile was allowed to leave America after he was arrested for attempting to solicit a child for sex. This story will disturb you. So this is Tom Artyom Alexandrovich. Tom is a senior Israeli official and head of the Israel National Cyber Directorate's Technological Defense Division. So in August of this year, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department conducted a sting. They were arresting pedophiles who were attempting to prey on children using computers and technology. And according to the officials, this sting actually captured, amongst others, Tom being a top Israeli official. Over a 2-week period, 8 people were arrested, but Tom was definitely the most high profile, and the suspects all faced charges of, quote, luring a child with a computer for a sex act. But then all of a sudden, Tom vanished. So for some reason, Tom, who was facing charges of pedophilia, he bonded out of jail. It was a $10,000 bond. That is, pretty standard for American criminal justice. However, Tom was then allowed to get onto an airplane and flee the country. He was allowed to go back to Israel even when he was facing felony charges stemming from attempted sexual contact with a child. Obviously, people immediately raised red flags here and said, this makes no sense. Because I don't know about you guys, but typically when an American citizen or someone living in America is arrested, they're not allowed to get out on bond and then immediately leave the country. That is just something that doesn't and cannot happen. However, it was relatively easy for Tom. And a lot of people have been stating online that they believe that there was some sort of influence from our current administration in helping to grease the wheel to allow Tom to get out of the country without question. I think this is highly, incredibly suspicious, and I think there needs to be some sort of disclosure eventually about exactly what happened here, because clearly this is not normal. What you're seeing here, what this story really alludes to, is not normal. And I don't know about you guys, but if someone tries to molest a child, I want to see them rot in prison for as long as possible. I'll keep you guys updated on what happens here with further FOIA documents, but why don't you let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section.
Let's talk about one of the scariest videos out there. Today we're talking about the Funky Town video, and y'all, this one is messed up. This one's so messed up that I can't even post it on here. It is insanely gory. It's gruesome. It's pretty much a man being tortured. Here it is right here, but I blurred over it. I found it on one of those gore sites. So yeah, I mean, you can find it out there, but be warned. About this video, it's literally a Mexican drug cartel murdering a guy. This video, you see a guy, he's laying on the floor and he's literally got his face peeled off and both of his hands are cut off. He's just got nubs. In the background, you hear Paradise City, and then you hear Funky Town playing in the background, thus giving it the name Funky Town. While Funky Town is playing, they're taking this dull knife and they're just going across his throat over and over again while this man is just flopping back and forth in pain. It's just awful, y'all. I mean, it reaches a point where after his hands are cut off and they're slicing his throat, he's trying to reach up and grab his throat, and he's just got 2 stumps, so they're just waving around, and it's like I said, y'all, it's out there, but be warned, if you do go watch it, it is insanely messed up and will mess with you. It's super scary.
He took her life in front of the whole class because she rejected him. Camila Pacasi Zanga was born in 2001 in Bolivia. She had dreams of becoming a teacher, and in order to achieve those dreams, she went to a school that was hours away. She was a single mother to her 5-year-old son, and unfortunately she had to leave him behind when she would go to school, but luckily her family would take care of him. Although it was very hard for her to leave her son behind, she knew that her sacrifices would later pay off in life. While in school, Camila came across this guy named Edwin Marcos Juanca. He was obsessed with her and would act very aggressive towards her. It got so bad that even at one point, Camila thought about dropping out, but she continued to stay. Camila's peers even noticed how obsessed Edwin was with her and how badly he wanted her to be his girlfriend. It even came out that Edwin was so aggressive that one time the teacher told him to take out his headphones and he punched that teacher in the face. On October 15th of 2024, as class was starting, Edwin rushed towards Camila and stabbed her multiple times. Their peers were in pure shock of what was happening right in front of their eyes. Some ran away, some tried to grab objects and throw it at him, thinking that it would make him stop, and some decided to pick up their phones and record everything. While Edwin was doing this horrific thing to Camila, he kept telling her how much he loved her, and he didn't stop until she was gone. While Edwin was being detained, Camila was rushed to a local hospital where she was
in the
pronounced
building.
dead. When Edwin was being questioned by police on why he did this, he stated that she ruined his life and he wanted revenge. Ultimately, Edwin was found guilty and sentenced to 30 years in prison.
This is Miss Pac-Man. The video starts in a dark room and the first things you notice is there's screaming in the background. The camera then pans to the floor revealing a severed hand and it then pans to the bed, which Alejandra Ikochub is on. The bed was soaked in blood and Alejandra had both of her hands cut off, and at this point you can see the full extent of her injuries. Alejandra has been hit in the face so hard with the machete that she has a horizontal wound going across her face that was so deep that it actually reached her ears. The wound was halfway up her face right in the middle of her nose, and it was horizontal, hence that name of the video, Miss Pac-Man. Because of the sound was so deep it looked like an exaggerated mouth. But the disturbing this is Alejandra is still alive, and at this point you discovered screaming in the background isn't her, but actually someone else in the house, and according to rumors and reports, it's actually her children. The camera pans her face and it shows she is still aware and conscious. Her eyes are moving across the room in complete pain and fear. You can hear her struggling to breathe due to the insane amount of blood. And you can hear constant gurgling as she tries to hang on to her life. You can also hear her try to breathe, but due to the injury it's extremely muffled. It almost sounds like a young baby crying, and you can also hear a male's voice behind the camera. The camera stays on Alejandra's face for about 30 to 40 seconds and you can see her withering in pain. You can hear her trying to scream, and at one point the camera goes closer to her wound. And at this point you see just how deep the wound really is. It's literally 3/4 of the way through her head.
There was this man named Jonathan. Now, Jonathan said when he was younger, he would go and visit his grandfather who lived in Louisiana on the bayou. Now, his grandfather had lived his whole life right on this sort of waterway that was known to be haunted. Now, he said this particular summer, he went to his grandfather's house and he was going to stay for a week.
About you, and it's no one else like you is what they're getting. Positive vibes only.
Like, welcome, Jonathan. Come
Shout
on.
out to King Soul.
And let me get you something to eat. Well, the first thing he noticed when he goes into his grandfather's house is there is this stench of something that is rotting.
Shout out to Sauce the
So he
Boss,
says,
of
grandfather,
course, man. Who's
what
in the
is that
building,
smell?
man?
Why does it
Shout
smell
out
like
to Sauce the Boss.
something is rotting? And his grandfather says, oh, it's nothing, don't worry. So he thinks, oh, that was kind of odd. He also noticed one of the rooms in the house was like boarded up. And he said, grandfather, why do you have that door closed? And he goes, oh, I'm doing some repairs in that room. I just didn't want you to go in there and get hurt. So they start, talking, having a good time. And then nightfall came. And Jonathan said, as soon as it got dark, his grandfather started getting really like anxious and antsy. And his grandfather told him, I want you to go in your bedroom and you lock the door and go to bed. And he's like, but grandfather, you know, like I thought we could stay up late and, you know, tell stories and stuff. And his grandfather's like, no, go into your bedroom and lock the door. So he goes into the bedroom and he notices that his grandfather has put, you know, this deadbolt lock on the door. So he locks the door and he lays down. Later that night, he hears kind of like a very loud ruckus coming from outside the room. And then he hears the front door open. And after that, everything was quiet. He goes to bed. The next morning, his grandfather comes inside the door and he's like, grandfather, where were you last night? And he said, oh, nowhere. It's okay. Everything's all right. Like, don't worry. And he said, well, why were you so nervous last night and made me lock my door? And his grandfather said, oh, you know, just precautionary. So he said, like, every night he was there at his grandfather's, like, his grandfather would leave in the middle of the night and then come back in the morning. Well, the last day he is there, he goes into the bedroom, locks the door for the night, and he starts hearing that sound, like a ruckus sound coming from outside the room. This time, however, he unlocks his door, he goes out of the room. And over in the kitchen, like, he can see someone moving around kind of like really violently, and he hears all of these weird kind of gurgling sounds. And when he gets a better look at what is in this kitchen, he said it was this, you know, muscular middle-aged man, but he had the face of what looked like a wolf. And he said this thing just noticed him and it started growling at him and snarling. It walks towards him and then grabs him by the arm. And the only thing Jonathan could think of at the time was
really being held captive. Okay? It is a hostage.
My fault. The beach is blasting. The beach is beating. We got some shit to unbox because you know we have new decks on the way. Wait, new waves for the play bay. Tell them to go play with their mother.
My life, son.
Sauce the boss. It's his birthday. Everybody wish him happy birthday.
Oh, this is big right here, y'all. Everybody wish Sauce, the official boss, happy birthday, man. Let's go. Let's see it in the timeline, huh? I like to.
Oh man, we're back once again.
I like to wish.
You know, it's a beautiful day. If you're feeling down, just get you a bag of that.
I like to wish
Sauce the boss. Can't call you Mr. Hero. Can't greet him with two, only the third eye. Killer Vision, PSPR, in hospital. Okay. Let me on this track. Accidents and opera O's. Conscious, unconscious. Flow riding on my train. Denzel, Chris Pine, unstoppable. Albert Einstein. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Therefore, I'm flying off the tracks. Extraterrestrial blunt, I got it on my lap. When I land, soul train line, hop up on my dad. They fear what they don't understand. I forgive them cause they don't really know no better. Hope let them walk on water. I'm dancing in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean with a polo sweater. How bad do you want success? I was holding my breath unconsciously. The conscious